the Wildcat peeling off from the back of the formation to put on his solo performance.
And I'm here now with Roland White, author of Vulcan 607, of course, most recently Mosquito, and a big fan of all these planes. And also you published Carrier Pilot.
Indeed, Roland White's Carrier Pilot. Very, very pleased to be able to bring back into Flint after discovering it as a teenager back in the 80s. This is the Wildcat we're looking at here, the Martlet in British service. Was a great leap when it entered service in Fleet era, because the Naval air service was struggling to find aeroplanes that could match the performance of the land-based air power that it was coming up against. And Winkle Brown, perhaps our most famous naval aviator, reckoned the Martlet was up there with his very favourite aeroplanes. It's the machine he scored his first kills in, shot down Condor over the Biscay before the...
He was on an escort.
When he was on an escort carrier, the first escort carrier, which was sunk by U-boat shortly afterwards. But he retained a fondness for the Martlet for the rest of his life. And his performance, as James said, was not exceptional, but it was good. And that was exactly what the Fleet Air Arm needed in 1940, when it was struggling with Sea Gladiators and Fulmars, none of which could really match the machines it was pitted against.
And very manoeuvrable, isn't it?
Very, very manoeuvrable, and like the rest of the Grummans, and the Hellcat, which was the sort of the machine which sat in between the Wildcat and the Bearcat, was responsible for more American kills than any other aeroplane in US service out over the Pacific against the Japanese. So this family of Grumman naval fighters was hugely successful, rugged, and I mean Grumman went on, after the Second World War to go and build the Tomcat of Top Gun fame. So really close association with naval aviation for decades. Wearing the white and black D-Day stripes, so although it was quickly superseded by newer, superior aeroplanes throughout the war, it was still serving all the way through the Second World War, the Wildcat, and out in the Pacific with the British Pacific Fleet in 1945 at the war's end. Of course, at the war's end, we had to shovel them all off the sides of carriers into the sea.
No, stop saying that. Stop saying that. But you can see, you can hear it, can't you? It sounds so completely different to, the Merlin or something. It's got that.
Corsairs from the left. Originally, let's just listen to. Originally, the Corsair was not particularly well regarded by the US Navy. That long nose, it has the shape of a racing aeroplane. That long nose made it difficult to land on a carrier. But the British didn't have the luxury of choice, and were the first to press it into service with the Royal Navy. And as James said earlier, it fought in the European theatre off Norway, where it provided.
If it looks good, it probably is good. I mean, it doesn't always work out, but for the most part it does.
9 times out of 10. Wow.
Yeah, what's not to like?
So James, do you know when the Corsair scored its last aerial victory?
No, but it must be Korea or something.
1969. The Corsairs came up against Mustangs in the skies over Central America, the war between Honduras and El Salvador. So the last Corsair kill, I think the last Mustang kill too, took place in 1969.
Well, what do you know?
That's just a classic sight, isn't it? There's 3 fighters coming out of the sun. Of course, those gull wings are only that shape so that the wheels could touch the deck and clear the huge propeller that powered those Corsairs. Privilege to see 3 of them flying together like that. Very fortunate to see that.
It's just a great aircraft, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, it's it's one of the things which is so striking about the speed and innovation that we saw through the late 30s and the early years of the Second World War was that each company was coming up with its own solution to the aerodynamic and technical challenges involved of achieving high performance. And what Grumman did, what Consolidated did with this is really, it was really fantastic. So unusual, so striking. That would be Vought, of course, rather than Consolidated. This thing, folks, really is the pinnacle of piston engine fighter design. This, along with the Sea Fury, really represent the top of the tree. In fact, as far as I know, the Bearcat still now holds the current piston engine world speed record. Around 500 miles an hour straight level, which is, that's jet speed. Back to talking to, as I say, this and the Sea Fury really peas in a pod. And talking to a Sea Fury pilot who said, flying these things, it's really like flying the jets in terms of the performance that you have on tap. Here it comes.
What a plane that is.
But it feels like it's the least amount of airframe you can fit around a huge radial piston engine, isn't it? I mean, it's sort of shrink wrapped to fit.
Yeah, it's small and dinky and little as well, isn't it? Compared to a Sea Fury.
Compared to a Sea Fury. And as James mentioned, these Bearcats served all the way through into the 50s, and so it meant that that first generation of Gemini and Mercury astronauts, those Navy pilots who led the space race, they would have learned to fly on machines like the Bearcat. In fact, Winkle Brown, I know, flew Bearcats alongside some of those early astronauts when he was on exchange in the United States at Patuxent River. Another favourite of his.
I think it saw service till 1963 in the US. And actually you can see why, can't you?
They didn't want to get rid of it.
Why would you? You do some now, really.
I think it would be.
Dust down Harriers. Maybe.
When you laugh back.
Maybe some English electric blankets as well.
sort of transitional years between the piston engine and Bearcats, Securities there, and particularly the C547, which is a contemporary of both. And they still had a real value. The jets were often short range. They were largely underpowered, that older generation of jets. And so the Bearcat, the Sea Fury, and the Seafire, they were the interceptors of choice. They could reach 10,000 feet much more quickly than their contemporary jets. So they had a real value in those transitional years, even as the jets began to make their mark. And you can see why with the sort of sparkly performance on display here.